hello, this is Pixie, doing another video. Had to pause it, that's just where I was, before I could speak. So I've just come out of my yoga group and gained a bit more understanding. I was reading a book and it had different types of consciousness. It talked about the body mind, like, will you just go up to the red light? The car's moving really slow. I always play to win, that's the way it works. Playing to win. So anyway, right, back to this video. I know the traffic's just busy anyway today. A lovely day, lovely Easter. So I've done my yoga today and I've learned a few things. So I mentioned there's different consciousness levels. I'm aware that if you go off into some type of dream world, or you're sort of astral travelling somewhere else, that's in your higher state of consciousness. And then this back to your like the subtle body energy, and it's more of a kind of an expression of you feel your body, but it goes beyond it. Oh, my water main's burst, that's why. And so for me, I'm at a stage where I don't just see the light in your heart, or sense that, it's, well, it is a sense the feeling of it, the activation of it. So the activation in the third eye and activation in the heart, which is very interesting. So I get the feeling of it, my mind's elsewhere, but I realised that what's like a subtle transmission of energy occurs anyway. It would occur because it's like a lens, the focus. So you've changed the way you're focusing your energy, and so the energy becomes focused at a singularity or a point. So when I was off doing an astral travel and doing a little spiritual trip, it was quite nice actually. I went to a waterfall, and underneath the waterfall, so it's like a Buddha or something above the waterfall, some type of carving on it, and underneath it was some people were meditating, I guess we call them the travellers, and they were sitting on these like, they'd almost carved out seats, and were just meditating, and the water was coming down in front of them. And there was a seat for me, and I wanted to engage with them, but I could see they were quite busy meditating. So I just sat there, and then I said, well, this is an aspect of meditation, but maybe not the cause, the total focus. So it's very interesting having a kind of focus that's divided. But having a divided consciousness isn't really a mystery, really. You do it all the time at some level. You know, if you're eating a food and you're thinking about what you're going to be doing next, you're sort of in two different places at the same time. So that brings that aspect to it, which is what we do. But I guess you're in the same. You're in the duality is you're in the same location. There's usually one of the third wheels. There's stuff coming to my brain. So you can be elsewhere, but one central cog has got to be in one location, or one plane of existence, or focus. Like, I'm always going to have a physical body at the moment. When I'm divided though, my consciousness may split. I may have some lower form of myself exist in a higher form, and then they kind of merge again at some point. Which is all fascinating stuff. So yeah, so I was elsewhere for a bit, and then I travelled back to where my body was. The lens travelled back to what I was feeling, and it's becoming more that I feel the sensation of the meditation rather than any other focus. And I did find this thing about spreading the sensation of the heart, and I wanted to see what that was about. And so what I was presented with was a caduceus. Guy could have gone into me. Some mobile whizzing around the corner. be able to avoid him if I travelled an extra 10 or 20 miles faster. So yeah, so that's what this could do. So basically, where you've got the heart as a central part of the body, and then you've got the lungs were like the wings, and then the other section of where the heart connected energetically was into the intestines, into the stomach, and that formed part of like a snake, so it's like a winged serpent. And so where you go up to where the Adam's apple is the head of the snake, that's what it was showing, which is probably another chakra point, isn't the throat. So yeah, quite an interesting thing. So the energy, just let it travel from the heart further down. So when you say heart chakra, it could be connected into one spot, but technically you can actually be spread out. It's a bit tight. So I'm going off down to my parents. I've got a delivery from India. I got a ruby. I bought it for like $20. Shouldn't really, my budget's not like massive, and it'd be just interesting. It was something I can meditate with, meditation tool, kind of open up to where it came from, the gem, maybe connection to other entities underground. I've got to be quite clear on my intentions as well, because if you have something that's valuable and sort of sacred to the earth in some way, and I guess everything at some level, that you might have other entities that might see you as a thief or something. See it as something precious that you've stolen it, or man's desecrated it in some way. Because we all live in realms, so this is the realm we live on, we're the surface world dwellers. And above this, there's things, like I say, in the sky as well, different frequencies. You get a more angelic beings, the higher up you go. But they don't necessarily be sort of necessarily kind or anything. Quite neutral entities. I think the idea of thinking angels intelligent enough and sympathetic enough to understand you as a human being. Outside of that, it doesn't have to help you at some levels. It just follows a higher purpose, really. That's what it's aiming for. It's a very interesting spiritual stuff. So going into the OMAD, I did my salt water flush. When did we do it? Well, I did it on Friday, and it was effective. However, it will leave you diarrhea for about 24 hours. So once you're clear, you may want to go to the toilet a few more times because there might be something else locked away in the guts. And I used Himalayan salts and magnesium salts. I had to deal with a bit. This is what you will get: resistance and pressure from family and so on. So I did get asked a few questions like, well, why are you taking these salts and stuff? And it can be difficult. It can be difficult if you don't know how to deal with your family, or if you've got them very sort of pushy. And I just had to give me a good cleansing, which it did. It didn't last in my body very long. It didn't do me harm. I think the idea for it was just eating salt for the sake of it. I said, no, I just flushed it out. And then there's a lot of pressure, like, oh, we don't trust people on the internet, which is fair enough. You shouldn't trust anything you come across on the internet. You're just a bit gullible to certain things then. Which you don't want to be. Pretty focused on what you're doing. So yeah, it's a bit of a cleanser, and it was a bit difficult because I was working around a client as well. So I sort of did it 3 hours before I'd see the client, and it took about 40 minutes, and then it blasted through me, and then I found myself needed to go to the toilet a few other times as well. It just sort of kicked in really, which wasn't so much fun. Yeah, it was no big problem though. And then once it calmed down a bit, the camera angle's gone, let's go on. And once it's calmed down a bit, then I was able to basically I just started eating then. It was sort of fairly normal movements, a bit of constipation, but then I had constipation prior to the flush a bit. Just wind really, it's like a lot of wind's getting in the way of me going to the toilet. And bread, I think it's bloody having bread. I become more sensitive to bread after being doing my fasting and stuff, so yeah. This guy goes, squashing it. Oh, he's going the wrong way, isn't he? Blocking traffic, you know. Some loonies. So yeah, it's been quite good. Still doing the OMAD. Had like this morning, went and just had a breakfast brunchy thing at some carvery place that do these special breakfasts. And it's basically because it's Easter Sunday, not many shops open, I couldn't really just dilly-dally or mess around trying to think and figure out where to go and stuff like that. So pretty much I just went in there, paid a set amount, had 2 cups of coffee and the breakfast. I think I should say coffee is good to give it a break. I was drinking loads of water and give it a break, and I felt a lot flatter in the morning in my stomach. Otherwise it can get a bit sort of too heavy on you. It's not always cool to get that sort of pumped up your guts. So shortcuts. And it's working. I don't know weight though, I wouldn't worry about the scales. It's how you feel, your clothes, you know, the clothes fit better, reducing inflammation. Your water weight will instantly increase with your inflammation. So that's something I've learned from someone, and also I know in practice that's true. So if you start becoming more inflamed, then that's an issue. So just keep on going with that sort of stuff. Anything else spiritual? Yes, I had like this Djinn thing going on. I have an attachment with some entity anyway. I have had for a long time with entities. So I was at a client's place and she said there wasn't many people around on the ground floor, and could I make sure the door was locked. It's kind of an open community, so sometimes she just leaves the door open, people push it open and go in and say hello, so all the neighbours know her and it's all friendly. And anyway, so I locked it up, no one could get in, no one could get out. They'd have to use a key safe to get in. Some of the neighbours may have keys to get in and out, but there's no reason for them to be playing all secretive. Because what happened is, half an hour before I turned up, and it was still fairly sunny, and I could prove that in some way. There we go. Not going around so much, but so yes, you saw this shadowy entity, and just on the wall, saw this like shadow of someone there. Nobody had entered the property. Door never went shut. She never said the door. Heard them closing the door. She did call out and ask who was there, and they didn't answer, and they left. And when I turned up, the door was locked. I had to manually unlock it. And to shut a door so you lock it, it's more difficult if you're trying to be a sneaky person, sneaking in and out. It's a lot harder to close it very slowly, so it clicks. It's probably easier just to lock it open and then it would have left. However, then somebody would know that somebody had come in, so it's not sure. I mean, she could have imagined it. However, it's just very strange what she said, and it did kind of feel a bit different. I did feel kind of less empathetic when I was around. A bit more prone to darkness, I guess. I don't know. Just one of them things, really. So I just keep my eyes open sometimes these entities turn up when a person's health is declining and stuff, and I don't know what they do to them. So had a similar case before. I don't think it's me that's doing it to him, but I had a chap and he had seen, he was in the morning, laid in bed, and he saw a person walk into his property, looked through his paperwork, so he said, and yeah, it's red light, mate. And basically, so this person had gone, looked at his paperwork, come through his front door, and then walked out again. And it was like a curtain over the front door that was shut. So when I turned up, he had reported it to me that he thinks someone had come in his property. And I checked, the door had been locked, no one had come in, none of his family had come down, he's got a key safe outside, no one knows the combination. Nothing had actually gone missing. So something had come in, if it really had done, and left. Now he reduced his calls, his care calls. So in the evening he was looking after himself. And one of the carers went in and they found him, sort of a month later, they found him dead in his bathroom. Just laid on the floor, so he might have just gone to the toilet and died. Or something, who knows. So it's just one of these mysteries, really. It could be that he just imagined it. Could be that he's half asleep and it's sort of come into his mind. But nothing happens by chance, really. So it could be also that he's becoming nearer to spirit, because he's becoming closer to death. And some people go through spiritual cycles. So they resonate at a higher frequency at certain points of their life, like when they're children, they might pick up on things. Teenage years, another cycle occurs. Adults, not so much really, but can do. Usually after retirement, might go through a certain change or closer to death. It depends. You kind of get the opportunity to open up, and then you choose. If you can't turn it down, then the cycle will just go back and then come back again some other time. And just some people are ready for it, some people are not. So it's just the way they are. Some people have true intentions, some people have false intentions. That sometimes happens as well. Anything else? So maybe I'll push a bit more into the keto. I don't know where you're coming up with your bus, but that's great. So I might have more eggs. So I was thinking about using sort of eggs and mixing up herbs and spices. I do sometimes put curry powder into my omelettes, so I might do something like that. And then I'm looking at probably how I use butter, or do I use lard, the benefits of them, because they vary a bit as well. You know, sometimes it's better to use butter, they say, but then there's certain things in lard. Maybe use a combination of both of them. Best of both worlds, that'd be good. Talk about keeping your calories low, and you can get your lows with eggs. And it's it's great, so I might do that. And I don't know, sometimes I eat and once I start eating a bit, I don't feel so hungry after that. It's probably because my body wants nutrients over energy, because it's using the same fats. My body weight ratio seems to have kept fairly much the same. However, it looks like I've got more protein on my body than I've got fats, so maybe the fat ratio to protein ratio has changed. And muscle is heavier than that. And then there's another debate that I come across, is that people say, well, you've gone to the gym, so how could you be putting on more muscle or doing that? Because the body has a muscle memory, and it also has a genetic of memory or design of where it wants to go, really. So yeah, your body will basically go back into that shape, that natural shape of whatever it might be. And you know, if you're quite slender and you've bulked up, you'll end up bulking down and becoming more trim. You know, it's the same as if naturally you're meant to be stronger or bigger. Your body will automatically put on some weight as well, some muscle. It just hasn't had the opportunity. It could be that you're deprived of nutrients or something. That can sometimes impact. Some lovely women around. It's just I don't mean that in a sort of sexist way. It's just because it's hot and sunny and there's loads of women out wearing dresses and stuff. Usually everyone's wrapped up in this UK climate, so it's quite different. But that's probably quite normal. I mean, that's a part of the OMAD really, is that I want to get myself fitter. I think it's quite important. Where I live, the ratio of men to women is much higher, so there's more men. So it's like a reverse of Russia, or where you might read where it might be the reverse. And what happens in that environment, this is the secret, is it's more competitive. Whatever is the majority, but so the minority have the pickings of the majority because of the ratios. So unless you're at a higher grade, or you're looking damn fucking hot and fine, you're not going to get much going on, not unless you're willing to compromise and date people that probably find it hard to have normal relationships for whatever reason. Maybe they've got high maintenance needs, or they're going through a lot of things. Maybe they've had some bad experiences. And while it's not the end of the world to date someone who's had a bit of a tough time, you may find yourself having to sort of support this person through the process. It could be that they're not willing to commit fully to a relationship, or whatever, for whatever reason. It could be they just had bad luck, they got divorced and they're on their own for a bit, they want to sort their head out, get themselves clear and decide what priorities they want in life, and they're ready to date again. Either way, there's a massive pool of fish for them to choose from, and if you want to do well in this kind of climate, you want to make sure that you set yourself higher goals, and that way you look much more attractive. You want things that be quite abundant, you want to be going somewhere successfully. You also want a headspace. You don't want to be reliant or needy on them. You don't need them. They might bring a certain aspect to it. There could be a part of you that wants to connect closely with somebody emotionally and spiritually and sexually. The whole works. But you need to be sure it's the right person, and they need to be on the same page. Otherwise it's going to be a big bloody... It's going to be a... Get myself into a decent gear and get this bloody camera sorted out. It's going to be a bit of a mistake if you're pushing that way. And men can be very romantic. I mean, I don't understand. They used to think what women would be, but I think it's men. They're very idealistic around romance. Women like the idea of a man doing these things for them in principle, but in practice they don't necessarily. I mean, I wouldn't want someone that expects to have fresh flowers every day. That's a high maintenance type of person, and that doesn't mean anything to them. Give them flowers all the bloody time. It has to be a kind of equal relationship. And if you're giving all the time and just taking, and you're not, and it's not getting reversed, then it's quite of a waste of time. You want to feel wanted as well. that's the point. And the people that are less interested and less want less. You get the reverse of it. The female's chasing them because she wants to capture their attention. She wants to have them under the wing. They're special. And it's a bit complicated why. It's like biological imperatives. I mean, even if two people match up really well on paper, the fact that they don't do the basics of the biological rules. I just thinking about somebody I was involved in the past. I didn't want to go into a relationship with her. I actually just wanted to be a friend. But then she sort of said, we can have a relationship. So maybe that's why, because I wasn't available to her at the time. I didn't mind, but she pushed everything a bit too quickly. I was a young bloke and I thought, well, this is where it's meant to be. This is how relationships work, these sort of dynamics. So I wasn't really too fussed. I However, I don't think it was an ideal way things were sort of thrown together. And that's the other thing, is if you've got to be sort of right headspace. I don't want to go somewhere and just pick up someone and they think it's very casual. There's a lot of that goes on. It's just because well, I guess both sexes don't want to sort of, I mean, the men don't mind saying, you know, I went with these guys, or girls, I mean, went with these girls, and some women don't mind, but they tend to talk in their own circles. They don't want people to, they don't want to damage their chances. If a man feels that they've been serial dating, I guess, in a short space of time, the bloke doesn't want to feel, he doesn't want to know that, because, and unless he's doing the same, it's going to make him feel quite low. You know, it's like he hasn't really hit a high target. He's attained something easily, so there's no real big gain emotionally. Just one of them things, really. Anyway, that's covered a lot of different topics, and I'm going to sign off now and have a cup of tea or something, chill out. I was going to say, sometimes don't have too much coffee though, because it can inflame your guts, so you might want to not take too much. However, it's got a diuretic effect, which does the reverse as well, so it's a bit of a mixed bag. Anyway, sign off, and speak to you soon.